Good afternoon and welcome to What's in it for Africa. Do you have any questions? Yes.
Would you speak about energy?
Definitely.
What about economics?
Yes, for sure.
What about climate change?
Definitely.
Yes, but what's in it for Africa?
Well, you'll find out.
Hello and welcome to What's in it for Africa, the EU-Africa update show with me, Uzo Madu. On this month's show, we're going to be talking about the electoral mission in Uganda, also the renewed partnership between the European Union and Algeria, and the review of the Renewable Energy Directive, and the EU's policy on fisheries controls. So, let's get started. The EU started its election observer mission in Uganda in January, dispatching up to 30 long-term observers to 15 districts across the country before the polls open on February the 18th. The aim of the observer mission is to really improve public confidence in the electoral process, but also to deter fraud and also resolve any conflicts that may arise. Essentially, it serves to observe how free, fair and inclusive the elections really are. Now, back in 2011, the EU observer mission that went to Uganda made several recommendations, including a new law to regulate campaign expenditure due to concerns around spending. Although these recommendations are still yet to be implemented, this time around the EU will be reinforcing its evaluation of campaign expenditure by adding this new category to its formal assessment and even looking into the identities of the largest donors. This will be the first time ever that the EU will be formally assessing campaign expenditure during its electoral missions, and it will release its preliminary report on February the 20th. Last month, EU representatives have been calling for greater cooperation with Algeria. The EU Commissioner for Climate Action and Energy, Miguel Cañete, has actually said that the EU is ready to help Algeria in the implementation of its national strategy for renewable energy and energy efficiency. This came a few days before the EU proposed to invest a whopping €270 million in trans-European energy infrastructure projects, including projects to connect gas supplies from Algeria terminals to Europe. Now, Algeria was ranked as the EU's third largest energy provider in 2014. Also, Tokyo Saifi, a French member of the centre-right political party in the European Parliament and also vice chair of the International Trade Committee, highlighted the importance of energy cooperation between the EU and Algeria last month, as well as working on security and trade issues under a new association agreement. Now, the current agreement focuses on three priority areas, and these are justice reform, the labour market, and the economy. These announcements are very timely as the current association agreement between the EU and Algeria actually comes to an end in 2017. So, all hands are on deck in 2016 to start negotiating a new agreement. The EU is currently reviewing its renewable energy legislation. Now, it's primarily concerned with the production and promotion of renewable energy sources within the EU, and it's part of the EU's wider global competitiveness strategy in the renewable energy sector. Now, the review also points to reducing the regulatory and market risks for new and innovative technology. Now, this means that the costs can be lowered by, for instance, the industrialization of manufacturing and installation. And the current legislation also has an external component. It involves cooperation agreements and projects with non-EU countries in order to support them in their renewable energy targets. Now, this review is actually a great opportunity to put African countries at the forefront of some of these cooperation projects and increase investments in renewable energy already underway on the continent. The continent is already prioritising universal energy access with a focus on turning its renewable energy potential into a reality. Now, this potential consists of almost unlimited solar, abundant hydro resources, wind and geothermal energy sources. The review includes a public consultation for all parties concerned, and it closes on the 10th of February. The EU is reviewing its Fisheries Controls rules adopted back in 2010 to guarantee the enforcement and applications of rules under its common fisheries policy, which mandates how the EU manages its fishing fleet. Currently, the Fisheries Control legislation lays out mechanisms to deter and sanction those infringing the rules. For example, an electronic tracking device of all fisheries products to reduce the illegal trade in fish, and also sanctions for operators who break those rules. The fine is set at 5 times the value of the fisheries products obtained illegally. These particular rules apply to all EU vessels, irrespective of where they operate, which means non-EU waters as well. Now, the EU has several of its largest fisheries agreements with several African countries, which afford the EU exclusive access to these territories, including its largest with Mauritania, which is worth a whopping €59 million a year. Now, the Fisheries Controls Rules Review is subject to a public consultation for all parties concerned, and this ends on the 13th of March. Thank you for watching the EU Africa Update show this month. You can now subscribe to our direct mailing list, where you can have access to plenty more EU Africa updates not included in the show and plenty more links to information. So please follow the link in the description or visit our website for more. Remember, only 2 more weeks till your next dose of EU Africa current affairs on the Inside the Issue show. Remember to follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube page, and to like our Facebook page. Until next time, it's me, Uzo Madu, for What's in It for Africa.